Welcome to Cooking with Madho. As the announcer on radio heralds the greatness of Kishore Kumar and his music in the upcoming hours of Boxing Day, my cousin and his wife take me to the mall in Long Island, New York. It's my first time in the mall in Long Island. And I'm going to show you some Indian food, and then on our return back to Queens, I'll check out a Rockaway Blvd pizza parlor, and then I will introduce you to a wonderful recipe on how to make stuffed paratha, pepper roti, Trinidad style. But my first dish is actually in the mall. And here it is, Taste of India. It's a famous franchise. I've gotten myself my chana masala, my matar paneer, my naan, my dal, and basmati rice. And this is a full platter or a thali. Probably was about $8-9 US before taxes. It's a full meal, complete meal in the mall. Then we get back into Queens and we go to Sofia. And let's find out some more. The restaurant has been on this spot for 28 years now, quite a while, and it really promotes Sicilian pizza. It's very authentic, very little changes, and look at all those vegetarian options here. We have the eggplant pizza, we have margarita, we even have a balsamic mushroom pizza as well. We have a ton of calzones and cannolis if you like sweet food. But it's really a lovely variety, and even Italian baguettes. So this is a great place to get a slice of pizza just for yourself, cheap. Or if you want, you could probably buy for the entire family.
You have chicken roll? Yes, down there.
So for the 28 years you've been in this location?
Absolutely.
Okay. And all the recipes are from Sicily? Or do you change a little bit?
Yeah, they change.
Okay.
Everything changes. But all our recipes are, how can I say,
inherited from parents or grandparents?
inherited, and everything is, nothing changes. None of the recipes change.
Okay. The pizzas are made fresh, the dough is laid out fresh, and it goes into this giant brick oven here, and I think the temperature of the oven is regulated at 350 degrees, so the pizza usually comes out like what you're seeing on the display here after being cooked or baked for about 2 minutes. So that's really high quality, fast pizza. Imagine if we saw these kinds of ovens being used in the Caribbean. It would make for a more exciting, fast delivery and efficient pizza service. Just think about it as we see me here ordering the basil on mushroom pizza. Or rather, not basil, but balsamic vinegar that's glazed on top of the mushroom
Is that
pizza.
good? I never even tried
And it was
that.
really very delicious. First time I've had it. Back with my family, there's a little party. My niece has a get-together, a play date, so they're blasting some Caribbean music in the background. And they're just trying the margarita pizza or the cheese pizza. Very popular for children. So we have several people gathering today for Boxing Day, which I actually discovered is not a term used in America. So it's just treated as a regular day. But a lot of Americans or immigrants enjoy this day off as well. So we're just applying the vegetable paste on top of the roti, and it's going to be done evenly here. We don't put at the edge for obvious reasons. We want to fold in, and we'll probably stamp down the 2 pieces of roti maybe with a fork, or you could close it in with your hands. But it's really your choice in how you want to close it. You'll also notice that less cheese goes in at the end, so the ends tend to have less ingredients, obviously really just to enclose the rotis together. So in that way, it's kind of similar to like pizza, that you put the cheese more in the middle and in the center rather than at the ends. If you see green, just confirm that the green is the bandania. So bandania is culantro. In some countries it's called culantro. In Trinidad, the French Creole term for it is also chardonnay. So you have different terms for it. And it's a distant cousin of coriander that is more popular in Indian cuisine. And Indians refer to coriander as dhania, and Trinidadians in the diaspora, not finding dhania, then improvised and used culantro, that is called bandania. The reason I'm giving you this long tirade on bandania is that it's perhaps the most obvious herb used in Trinidad cooking, more so than in, let's say, Guyanese cooking. It's certainly not found in Jamaican cooking. So Creole Caribbean cooking in Trinidad certainly uses that herb, culantro. It's also popular in places like Mexico, where it's featured in sofrito. But it goes into roti and curries a lot in Trinidad, and it gives the roti a uniqueness that cannot be found in the filled parathas that you'll find in India. So if you go to places like Punjab, you would see some version of filled parathas. Parathas here made with aloo and different spices. It's very popular streetwise in Bombay, or definitely along dhabas in Punjab. But in Trinidad, what we tend to do is we make this by infusing aloo with carrots. That's unique, and definitely the bandania. We don't put chili or mirch like the Indians. We use Scotch bonnet. Am I correct? So there are some variations here to contrast it with, let's say, a filled paratha from India. Definitely the usage of bandania, and now the uses of cheese. So we have cheddar cheese going in here. You don't want to put mozzarella, it will stretch and it will be more like a pizza. So some people consider this kind of like a quesadilla, in the sense that it looks like, you know, cheese goes in. So you could consider this like a filled paratha from India meets a quesadilla goes wild. And we're putting enough cheese on it so that it melts and cooks slowly. So we're not really worried about this. The base is not burning, because whilst we have heat on one burner alone, not two. And the cook here, she's confident because she makes roti professionally as well. As she said earlier, she likes to make roti with the filling being lentils or dal. So she's confident that we could then load up. I'm just going to show you here. This is the second layer of roti that will go on top. So here we go. Again, very similar to a stuffed paratha. And if you go on the streets of Bombay, as I've said, this is very popular street food in Bombay. In parts of Old Delhi, you would see cooking like this, and in the dhabas. But this is a kind of Trinidadian style of doing it that's slightly different. It's just called colloquially pepper roti. And whilst originally very popular at Hindu wedding ceremonies, it's also become more of an item at roti shops. So for example, if you're in Queens, New York, and you go to Rockaway Boulevard or Liberty Avenue, close to Little Guyana or in Little Guyana, you have a lot of restaurants to choose from. And you could order pepper roti there. It's also very popular in Trinidad, in Debe, Pinal. There are different places that have made it very famous. And on the St. James Strip, you could get pepper roti or paratha. I want to ask you a question about the size of the pepper roti. Does it matter? Is it really important to have a big pepper roti like this, like a large pizza? Or could people at home make smaller versions of pepper roti? What would you suggest?
Like for wedding, they make big ones.
Right, on huge towers.
For home, they make like the size.
Okay, all right. And is there any advice you would give people who are intimidated by like flipping it, or it's something that with practice you'll just get the hang of, you think? Practice. All right.
Practice make perfect.
So we're just waiting for it to cook on either side. Will you be putting any butter?
Yeah.
Okay, right. So we're putting some version of butter here. That's a very famous brand in Trinidad. It's called Golden Ray. To bring that rich Creole flavor out, you always use Golden Ray. So different Caribbean countries will use some version of margarine in their cooking, and Trinidad is no different. By putting the oil or the butter, it really gives a rich kind of crust so that it will become kind of golden or yellow. Yeah, I'm ready.
No, just not. Because it has to get brown. Little. If we flip it, it will break apart.
So we're gonna try to flip the roti since it's well cooked on one side. Perfect. Good job. I don't think I could pull that off. But I want to ask you that you were talking about ingredients that you find for West Indian cooking here that you all prefer. Is it like you prefer the food, the fresh vegetables from Guyana or Trinidad?
Yes.
What's the main reason for that?
Less chemical.
Less chemicals. All right, so less chemicals. So when you say less chemicals, you mean that the food is what, fresher and more organic from Trinidad or Guyana?
Like I feel it's modified here.
Right. So in terms of foods, like what things do you usually get from the islands? Like, is it bhaji or dashin bush?
Dashin bush, bodhi we get, eggplant. That's the three main things I buy.
Right. So bodhi or bora or snake vine. You get dashin bush or spinach, right? Some people call it spinach. Also taro. Some people call it taro leaf.
Shatai.
And shatai or katahar or jackfruit. So you get those things definitely. And one interesting thing is, where does when you get the shatai, is the green one you guys cook with, right?
Yes, we get it steamed from back home, and then we freeze it and bring it, so we know it's gonna last for like 2 weeks in the freezer, and then we take it out.
Okay.
So it's not the ones from here.
Right. So in terms of finding, let's say when Caribbean people come to New York to live, it's relatively easy to just get the imported food from the islands, you would say.
Yes.
And you all prefer to shop that way rather
That's how
than
I shop.
from the main supermarkets.
Yes.
All right. So is it like you all buy from West Indian shops, or you all go to, let's say, the traditional Indian groceries like Apna Bazaar or Patel Brothers? For example, when I come,
you
I
have
go
to
there.
shop around to see which one is fresh and which one is good and which one, that's imported from the local Trinidad or Guyana.
Okay. Thank you for looking at this episode of Cooking with Madho. See you soon. Other verse, Kudafiz, Firmilenge. Bye bye, Chalgayo.